Have you ever met someone whose presence felt like a secret the universe had been keeping just for you? As if the moment your eyes met, something ancient and eternal stirred awake within you. Not noise, not excitement, but stillness. A deep, undeniable calm. The kind that silences every doubt and quiets the storm inside your mind. It wasn't just chemistry, it wasn't just luck. It was a feeling that didn't belong to this world. A pull, like gravity, but not of the earth. Of the soul. There's a moment when reality bends just slightly. When your heart says, remember, even if your mind insists you've never seen them before. Carl Jung once called it synchronicity. Those strange, impossible moments when the outer world aligns with your inner truth. And you can try to brush it off. You can try to stay logical. But something within you whispers, pay attention. This is not random. Because sometimes when two paths cross, it's not coincidence. It's a cosmic nudge from something far greater than chance. Some people don't just enter your life. They awaken it. They arrive not with noise, not with grand gestures, but with a quiet presence that shifts everything. No fireworks, no dramatic signs, just a calm recognition that somehow you've always known them. It's not about the words they say or the way they look. It's the energy, the familiarity, like a dream you forgot but never truly lost. You don't fall in love with a face. You fall in recognition and with a soul. And when the universe is ready for you to meet someone who matters, it doesn't shout, it whispers. A text at the exact moment you're thinking of them. A song that speaks to your hidden ache. A stranger who says their name just when you're trying to forget. You walk into a place you've never been, and there they are. Like fate was waiting for you to arrive. You don't chase these signs. They find you, like clues in a puzzle only your heart knows how to solve. Jung believed that when we begin to wake up to our truth, when we face our fears, embrace our wounds, and stop lying to ourselves, the universe responds. Life mirrors back the exact people we need, not to complete us, but to reveal us. That kind of connection doesn't flatter you. It doesn't exist to make you feel better. It exists to make you see deeper, to pull out the version of you that's been hiding in the dark corners of your soul. Sometimes we think we're falling for another person, but the truth is, we're falling for the part of ourselves that they awaken, the part we didn't know was still alive. That soft piece we locked away when the world told us to be tough. That wild dream we buried because life demanded we be practical. That wound we never healed, now aching again, not to break us, but to be acknowledged at last. These people, the ones who shift our world in silence, they aren't just romantic interests. They are mirrors, messengers, guides. They show us who we are behind the masks. They bring to the surface the love we never gave ourselves. They reflect the patterns we're trapped in, the fears we never voiced, the longings we forgot how to name. And it's not easy. True connections don't comfort your illusions. They shatter them. They won't let you hide behind your ego, your pride, your fear. They force you to look in the mirror and face the truth you've been avoiding. Because sometimes, the greatest love doesn't come to complete your fairy tale. It comes to write a new chapter in your soul. One where you are no longer asleep. One where you remember who you truly are. They don't just walk into your life like a pleasant breeze. No. They enter like a storm in that knows exactly where the cracks are. Not to destroy, but to reveal. To show you the places inside that have been quietly aching. The corners you've learned to ignore just to get through the day. And that's the thing about soul connections. They're not meant to be easy. They're not here to validate the polished version of you, the curated life, the smiles for the camera. They come for the hidden parts, the broken pieces, the silent battles. You think it's love, and maybe it is, but it's not the canad you write fairy tales about. It's the kind that unearths you, that pulls the curtain back and forces you. They didn't come to complete you. They came to reveal you. And when that connection sets your soul on fire, it doesn't you to look at the version of yourself you've buried under years of survival, the one that cries when no one's watching, the one that still aches for closure that never came, the one that just wants to be seen, truly seen. Sometimes someone enters your world and everything inside you whispers, home. But they're not your home. They're the mirror, the reminder, the spark that reignites the path back to yourself. And maybe they don't stay. Maybe their chapter in your story is short-lived. But what they awaken, that never leaves. They stir something inside, something raw and real, and suddenly you're not the same person you were before them. They didn't come to complete you. They came to reveal you. And when that connection sets your soul on fire, it doesn't always feel like bliss. Sometimes it feels like your world is coming undone, like everything you've used to keep yourself safe is crumbling. That's not a sign something's wrong. That's the moment your soul begins to wake up. Because real love, the kind that touches the deepest parts of you, doesn't arrive to comfort your ego. It arrives to dismantle it. It exposes the walls you built, and the wounds you ignored, the patterns you thought were strength but were really shields. And suddenly you're asking questions you never dared to ask. Why do I fear being left behind? Why do I push people away when they get close? Why does it feel so unsafe to simply be open? They don't break you. They show you where you're already broken. Their presence peels back the layers. Maybe it's their silence that reawakens your memories of being unseen. Maybe it's their strength that casts a light on your insecurities. And you want to pull away. You want to blame them. But deep down, something whispers. This isn't pain without purpose. This is clarity. And clarity can hurt. The truth is, they're not the enemy. They're the teacher. The catalyst. Because love, real love, doesn't just make you feel good. It calls you to grow. And every wound they uncover is an invitation to look within, to face what you've run from, to finally stop pretending you're okay when you're not. And something incredible happens. You start to dig, to journal, to reflect, to notice how you move through the world. You begin to love yourself, not because you were told to, but because you can no longer ignore the parts of you that have waited too long to be held. You stop the blame game. You take ownership. And in that, you find a strength you didn't know you had. It hurts, yes. But this kind of hurt is sacred. It means the connection was real. Superficial bonds don't unearth you like this. Only soul encounters do. And somewhere along the way, as you stop cursing the pain, you start honoring it. Because you realize it didn't come to end you. It came to open you. And that love, whether it lasts or not, becomes a turning point. A moment where you begin again. Not with them, but with you. But it doesn't end there. Because every soul carries something darker, too. The parts we hide even from ourselves. The fears, the insecurities, the desperate needs we pretend we've outgrown. We stuff them down, bury them beneath achievement, charm, control, until someone comes along and touches the places even we forgot existed. You thought you had it all together, but now you're suddenly jealous, anxious, dependent. Emotions you thought you'd outgrown. But this isn't regression. It's revelation. Your shadow has been awakened. It's not punishment. It's a call. A moment that cracks the surface so the truth can finally breathe. This person didn't create your chaos. They just made it impossible to ignore. And now you're face to face with the you that has been begging to be seen. Not every storm is destruction. Some storms come to clear what should have never been there. To tear down the emotional walls and say, look, here's the wound. Here's what's been run in your life from the dark. That's what destined love does. It doesn't just make you feel adored. It holds up a mirror to your patterns, your fears, your illusions of control. And in that confrontation, you're asked to choose. Will you keep pretending, or will you finally grow? You start to hold space for yourself. You stop apologizing for being too much. You see that all along the work was never about them. It was about you. Your return to wholeness. And sometimes they leave, and sometimes they walk in like a spark and exit like a lesson. But you're no longer the same. They didn't finish your story. They helped you rewrite the beginning. Not all destined encounters are meant to last, but the right ones, the soul-deep truth-revealing ones, they don't have to. Because their purpose was never to stay. Their purpose was to awaken you. Some people enter your life like thunder, loud, unforgettable, impossible to ignore. Others arrive with the softness of a breeze, quiet and soothing, like a balm to your weary spirit. But whether they storm in or drift gently, they have one thing in common. They aren't here to complete you. They're here to change you. We grow up chasing forever. Stories, songs, and fairy tales paint love as something that should last a lifetime. But what if the most powerful souls you'll ever meet weren't meant to stay? What if their purpose wasn't to build a life with you, but to awaken a part of you that's been asleep? They touch places in your heart you didn't know existed. They stir memories and emotions you've buried deep. They challenge your patterns, shake your beliefs, hold up a mirror to your soul, even the parts you try so hard to avoid. And when their role is complete, they go. Or life takes them away. Or you're forced to release them, even when every part of you wants to hold on. In the silence that follows, you're left questioning everything. Was any of it real? If it mattered so much, why didn't it last? But maybe real isn't defined by duration. Maybe real is measured by transformation. Carl Jung once said that when two personalities meet, if there's a reaction, both are changed. That's the essence of a soul connection. It alters you. It doesn't always arrive when you want it to. It doesn't always fit your plans. But it leaves marks that never fade. They weren't here to meet your fantasies. They were here to shatter your illusions, to pull you from autopilot, to push you out of comfort, to catalyze growth you never would have chosen on your own. Maybe they showed you what love could feel like. Maybe they exposed the cracks you still needed to heal. Maybe they inspired dreams you'd buried long ago. And maybe their absence hurt more than their presence ever soothed. But that pain, it became a guide. It taught you something you couldn't learn through peace alone. Because sometimes pain isn't punishment. Sometimes it's sacred instruction. These encounters remind you, love isn't always about forever. It's about evolution. You don't always end up with the one who wakes your soul. Sometimes they come to remind you of your strength, to shift your path, to spark the version of you that only pain could uncover. And as devastating as that feels, it's also freeing. Because when you stop clinging to permanence, you begin to trust the unfolding. Letting go doesn't mean it was a mistake. It means the lesson was complete. That's the difference between attachment and awareness. Attachment says, why can't we go back? Awareness whispers, you've outgrown this. Not all soul connections last, but none of them are wasted. They become part of your becoming, etched into the fabric of your story, not as wounds to regret, but as sacred reminders of who you used to be and how far you've come. And one day you'll remember them not with ache, but with gratitude, because they didn't come to stay. They came to start something. They came to stir the next version of you to life. And in that becoming, you find the rarest kind of love, the one that doesn't need anyone else to feel full, the love that sits silently inside you, rooted, steady, whole, a love that doesn't beg or chase, a love that trusts and lets go. That kind of love changes everything. The universe doesn't send people when you're lonely. It sends them when you're ready. There's no shortcut to it, no cheat code. It doesn't bend to your timeline or show up just because you're craving connection. It doesn't respond to your midnight tears out of sympathy. It waits for the moment when your soul's finally ready to receive not a distraction, not a filler, but something true. If you're still lost in self-doubt, still craving a love to escape the silence of your own thoughts, then what arrives won't be a soulmate. It'll be a reflection of your chaos, a test dressed as desire, because life doesn't respond to your wants. It responds to your energy. Desperation calls in confusion. Emptiness attracts more emptiness. Fear draws in cycles that loop again and again, until you finally look in the mirror and decide, enough. I'm ready to heal. That's when the shift begins. When you stop looking outward for rescue and start doing the hard, sacred work within. You stop performing for love. Stop chasing people who never really saw you. You sit in your stillness, face your shadows. You start to become whole, not in someone else's presence, but in your own. And slowly, you begin to trust the quiet. You stop asking, where is my person? And start wondering, which parts of myself have I been avoiding? And then, without noise or drama, alignment happens. Not with fireworks or chaos, but with a calm so clear it resonates deep in your chest, like a string inside you finally finding harmony. When that person comes, it won't feel like a chase. You won't be anxious around them, you won't shrink or question your worth, because they won't arrive to complete you. They'll arrive to walk beside a version of you that already knows. I'm whole. I'm enough. I'm no longer afraid of my reflection. That's love. Not addiction, not fear, or not chaos, just resonance. And everything after that begins to shift. Not because they saved you, but because you saved yourself. And the universe simply mirrored your healing. That's how it works. You don't receive what you beg for. You receive what you become aligned with. So heal, grow, let go. Let silence teach you. Let peace guide you. Become the version of yourself that doesn't reach out in desperation, but radiates a frequency that calls in love by simply being real. Because not every encounter is coincidence. When someone steps into your life and something within you stirs, when your heart skips, when the world slows down for a breath, don't rush to label it. Don't try to trap it in a definition. Just feel. Let it move through you. Not every spark is meant to last. Not every connection is romantic. But every soul carries meaning. Some arrive to test your strength. Some awaken wounds you've ignored. Some remind you of your light. And some walk in just to show you how to walk away. So instead of asking, who is this person to me? Ask, so what are they showing me about myself? Is it peace, fear, joy, an old ache resurfacing for healing? People aren't accidents. They're messengers from the universe, from your higher self, from the version of you that already knows what you're ready for. Even if you don't. The universe doesn't answer your loneliness, it answers your readiness. Some people shake you awake. Others help you heal. All of them bring you closer to your truth. So when that next soul enters your life, pause. Don't rush to respond, just listen. Because the universe doesn't scream, it whispers. And those whispers, they make sense only when you're finally still enough to hear them.